Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carey. Is there a C on both? Oh no, my C is on this side of my cup. All right, thank you for being here today. I appreciate you stopping by to check out some more rules about dating over 50. I don't even think I'm being redundant, and I want to remind you, I don't truly believe these are rules. I think they are strong suggestions, and at the very least, some stuff you should think about before you're out there dating or before you go on your next date. If rules are your thing, you're in the right place, and I hope you'll enjoy what I've got for you today. That's what we're talking about coming up right now. Rule number 1 is a straight up rule. Be on time. I read that people who are consistently late don't start out trying to be late. In fact, they're not even usually late leaving their house, but they don't do the math accurately to allow for time to park, to get from their car to the place they're going, to get from where they're at to the floor they need to be on. All the little things that happen along the way, smaller steps get left out of their equation. So plan ahead, figure out exactly what time you're going to arrive with all those little steps mixed in there, and be on time. It's a courtesy, and everybody appreciates not being made to wait, and you wouldn't like it, do unto others, right? So be on time. It's a great start to a first date, or any date really. Number 2, your type is not doing you any favors. It's not even really a thing. It's something that people say, I have a type, and they think they need certain things, but you would be surprised how often people end up with someone who is in so many ways opposite of what they told me their type was, and they live happily ever after. So don't fall into the trap of believing you have a type and you have to adhere to everything on your list of must-haves. Just go meet people, go have a good time, see what it's like, see what they're like. Could be a friend, could be somebody for your friend, or it could be the love of your life. Don't fall into the type trap. Having a type is not your friend, and maybe think about ways to break out of that pattern that you've created having a type. It will work to your benefit. Number 3, you are a grown woman, so flirt like a grown woman. Don't fall into remembering what flirting was like. In fact, I have an episode about flirting. It should be up by now. I'll link to it right here. If not, subscribe because it's coming shortly. But there's no reason for grown women to be doing that or to be talking like this or raising their voice up high. You have power of being a feminine woman with her feminine qualities and accomplishments in her past and relationships in her past and growth from relationships in her past. So be your whole self on a date and flirt like a grown woman. Number 4. Leave your past where it belongs. Where do you think that is? Yes, it's in your past. Don't bring your baggage, your past relationships to a date. Be in a good space to be meeting new people. Couple episodes on leaving your baggage behind. I know we've talked about it before, how to be ready, do the work ahead of time so that you are in the place where you can receive and not be giving off any negative energy from something that you've left behind. But it's great advice, so I mention it again. Leave the past in the past and go there as your brand new self, ready to meet somebody and connect and start something fresh. And a quick reminder, if somebody else is leading the conversation into their past, there are tips and tricks on how to get them out of that, how to change the course of a date with a couple different phrases. I'll put that link to that video at the end of this episode here, so you can check that out if you need that phrase that will take a date that's gone off track and get it back on track and away from somebody talking about their ex or their past relationship or their last breakup, and you can get them back to talking to you, learning about you, and hearing about what you have to offer. This one's a little bit of a dichotomy again because it really is a situation by situation basis. You've got to kind of play it by ear and use your intuition and your womanly knowledge here. But I typically tell clients to aim to talk 40% of the time because that makes you a good listener and that makes you ask more questions. But I did want to point out here that not only should you aim for that, which most of us can't do because we're women and usually women talk a little bit more than men, unless you get a mix where you've got a very shy woman with a more outgoing fella, and that does happen. But I wanted to point out that men do also enjoy listening to us talk and share, and it does take the pressure off them. So if you are a great storyteller and you have harnessed your stories, as I've talked about in other episodes, feel free to share your interesting stories, especially if they're entertaining and you're good at it. If it's one of your strengths, men do love to listen and learn about you. So if you have stuff to say, don't hold back on a great story just because your dating coach told you to aim to do 40% of the talking. I'm really, when I say that, trying to avoid people monopolizing the conversation, not asking questions, or truly getting to know somebody that they're supposed to be interested in learning about. Or sometimes our nerves make us talk more and it's not really going anywhere. It's just us chit-chatting. So you don't want to do that, but feel free to share your stories. That's a great way to connect with somebody. I just realized I have a bonus point at the end, so remind me. Next up, being contrary. I have friends that I enjoy a good debate or a good playing devil's advocate so we can discuss different sides of the story. But a first date, when somebody doesn't know that's what you're doing or that you're just trying to engage in a more lively conversation, a first date is not the place to be argumentative, to be very, very strong and loud about things that you're passionate about that they disagree with, or to create that devil's advocate game that we sometimes play to create lively debate. And also, you don't want to grill somebody. If you find out they have a different opinion on something, use that opportunity to learn why they feel that way. I've had people with some very different ideas learn about one another, and it totally made sense to them afterwards, where they thought it was an alarm going off, but realized once the person was allowed to explain and expound on their reasonings that it was really interesting and they could definitely live with those differences. So no grilling that person for their opinion, just ask sincere questions and get to understand another human being. If it leads to romance, great. If not, maybe we've learned something on that date that we didn't know before. Next up, set your alcoholic drink maximum prior to going to the date. I know that when I used to watch The Millionaire Matchmaker, Patty Stanger, she had a 2-drink maximum for everybody involved in her matching show. And I think that you. For some people, that's 1 drink. For some people, that's 3. Know yourself and just have a reasonable amount of alcohol if you are a person who drinks. There are plenty of us who don't drink on dates because we don't drink at all. But if you do, know your limit, because I think we make our best decisions and we make the best impressions when we're still in control of all of our choices and our faculties. So know your limit and stick to it. And then my bonus tip is you may need to tap into your mental capacities, your focus, your look for that clarity, and tell yourself, remind yourself, you're just there for a good time. You're out for a fun night getting to know somebody new that you didn't know before. And it could lead to romance, maybe not. Maybe it's just a fun evening out, having a beverage with somebody who you thought seemed really interesting or looked attractive to you, or somebody recommended to you. And not only enjoy their company, but enjoy your own company. I think that some of the best connections are made with someone who allows you to be yourself so that you can enjoy your own company. So my rule would be, don't psych yourself out. In fact, psych yourself in and remind yourself you're just there for a good time. I hope you found some of this information helpful, at least hopefully interesting, and I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Hit that ring bell and then you're notified every time I upload a new episode. I'd love to have you back. And until then, thanks for being here today and have a good one.